You gotta take off your pants and jacket, Mike.
Oh my gosh, I think we got our intro right there, man.
Yeah. Oh shit, we're recording.
It's not a bird, it's not a plane, it's Superhero Slate. It's a modern podcast where we talk about everything that's great, like movies, TV, superheroes. It's Superhero Slate. Oh yeah.
Hello everyone and welcome to Superhero Slate, the show where we run down the latest superhero entertainment news.
We love TV, movies, and superheroes, so let's talk it all out.
My name is Chris Dillard.
And my name is Mike Royer.
And this week, we're talking about these rumored Flash cameos. Mike.
Flash, gone with a flash, here in a flash, we're talking about it.
There's something about getting flashed here, and I just couldn't make it up, so we're just going to move along. Did you know WandaVision is on track for a 2020 release?
Oh, thank God. Yeah. The 2020 is just, the dumpster fire is so hot right now. It's literally starting to melt the dumpster. And I'm not even talking about the plastic lid over it. That was gone like ages ago. Now like the metal around it is just starting to weaken. So we need anything we can to just prop that dumpster up a little bit.
Give me something to look forward to at this point.
Yes.
At that point. And that's not to mention the whole state of California, Oregon, and Washington burning around that dumpster as well. So that's a whole
I can't
thing.
believe I didn't even mention that last week on the show that the whole state was on fire. But obviously, I made it through.
Yeah, you did. Thankfully, Miles Morales is getting a shocking new video game.
Ooh!
And more.
That's right, man! I completely forgot about that little gameplay segment. That's right.
Yeah, that was like the only thing we talked about during the PlayStation 5 reveal this week.
That's true.
There's that. So and more. We got some other news this week to talk about, of course. So it's not just those three things. But yeah, now we're sitting here Sunday afternoon, Mike. We have officially in the Midwest hit fall. It was 46 degrees last night, and only like mid 70s today. It is absolutely wonderful. I know you've been going through like a heat wave.
Yeah, I've never been one to check the weather so often because I'm trying not to humble brag here, and I feel like I'm allowed to because the state's been on fire for a while, so it's not always sunshine and rainbows out here. But for the majority of my life here in Southern California, I rarely need the weather app. Like it never rains. Things are usually pretty good. I don't need to check, but I've been religiously checking it every day, and I've been looking at the air quality numbers, which is something like I've never really keyed into that much, but with the fires blazing, it's really messing with the air quality. It makes it kind of hard to go outside if you have like asthma or if you're in like a sensitive group or something like that. So I actually looked into the numbers the other day. Apparently 0 to 50, that's the number where things are good. And anything above 50, they say to kind of limit your exposure depending on your ailments. But we were up to, I think, our max in our area, and we're about like maybe 30, 40 miles away from the big fire. That's at least out here in Los Angeles. We were up to like the 160s. Like I think we might have peaked in the 170s. And then I felt like pretty bad. I was like, oh man, this is awful. We were carrying our air purifier around our place and putting it into the rooms that we were occupying. But man, I checked out like Portland like a few days ago, and they were like in the high 200s. So like up in the Pacific Northwest, they're getting it really bad up there. Hopefully it's gotten better. But yeah, I've never looked so much at those air quality numbers before until now. So
it's really funny you mention that because this summer I started monitoring probably my UV ratings more. After last year's Comic-Con fiasco, I decided to kind of take care of that.
Smart.
But it's funny you mention that because I recently, as you know, iOS and the watches and stuff got a new update this week, and one of the monitors on my watch face right now is actually air quality weather, UV index, and just temperature ratings.
Oh, that's great. So, man, we were just talking about the Apple Watch off mic a little bit ago. That's another good reason to get one. Right?
Yeah, so on this face, so I look at it literally right now at 34 air quality in my range.
That's great.
UV index is 3.0, which is moderate, and then it's 73 degrees right now, which is the high, with 46 being low. And I can just gather this by glancing at my watch, which was funny that you were talking about the watches earlier, so I'm bringing this up because I've been looking at it all week.
Those are really good stats. You hit like the trifecta of really good numbers there, and you're inside on a microphone talking to me. Yeah, I think that's great.
and it uses color to tell me green is good, yellow is bad, and red is the worst. So just by looking, I'm like, oh, it's green. I'm fine. No red alerts here, Mike, at all. So yeah, that's really interesting you mentioned that because I work with someone who lives in Oregon. And they asked me about air quality on Tuesday here. I'm like, it's like maybe 20. We got the trees and the greenness everywhere, really clearing that up. So, but it is funny you mentioned that. I had mostly just stayed inside all week. I've been playing a lot of the Avengers game. We've talked about that. They put out a big patch Friday night, I believe, that fixed like 1,000 different little possible bugs or glitches. And it's able to put me... I was able to beat the campaign on my Xbox, and I've been playing on PlayStation. I've been having a good time. Mike, you've been playing a little bit as well. A little more slow going, but...
Yeah, it's been a little bit more of a slog for me. There's so many mechanics in the game that Chris just informed me that I don't even need to pay attention to, that I can literally ignore until I beat the campaign. And the game doesn't really kind of tell you that. So I feel like if you get too bogged down in a lot of this stuff, it's going to take you forever to beat the campaign. And Chris has also let me know that the variety of enemies will change as I move forward, which is happy because, like, man, it's super cool, like, being, like, a hero, but, like, you get kind of tired fighting waves of robots over and over again.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you're just in Avengers Age of Ultron, the movie, just fighting Ultrons over and over and over and over and over again. So I'm happy to hear that there's going to be some variations of enemies moving forward, but I would say that this game excels when it's the most Marvel that it can possibly be. And so far, I've only fought in one villain. It's at the beginning of the game, so I don't think it's that big spoiler. And there's a chance it might have even been in the demo. But you get to be the Hulk, and you get to fight Abomination, and you're in, like, this underground lab, and there's, like, all of this, like, scientific technology, like, sparking all around you. And, like, that was awesome. That was, like, supreme. Like, that's what you want in a Marvel game. Like, you just want it to be cranked to 11 and everything's like popping off. So I'm looking forward to more of those moments. And it's kind of funny, like, I forgot, because, like, when you're in a Marvel cinematic universe, you know, you're always dealing with, like, contracts and rights. What can they bring in? What can't they bring in? What actors have retired? Who haven't they cast yet? But when you're in a video game world, like, everything's on the table, anything's on the table. It's just like, oh yeah, I can just be the Hulk and fight the Abomination. I don't have to worry about Universal's distribution rights when I'm playing this video game. So I'm looking forward to more of that moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, so what's cool is, you know, you fight in there, and then when the game opens up post-campaign, you get to fight some more villains and bosses like that along the way, like big bosses that take, you know, like sometimes, I sat there for like 2 hours the other day playing one level. And I've been trying to mainline Thor, so I really love playing Thor, and I hope everyone has, like, I've talked to some other people love Iron Man, some people love Captain America.
I honestly hate Iron Man. I just think it's because I don't like the flight mechanics as much. I feel like it's hard to move through a level when you're flying, and I'm not getting as much of gratification out of the beams. Like when he shoots the unibeam, that's really rad because you get like this gigantic beam. But when he's just kind of like shooting stuff out of his hands, I'm just like, I feel like I'd rather just be punching stuff. So I totally get the preference between characters.
Have you unlocked rockets yet for Iron Man?
No.
Okay, so Iron Man. So we talked about this. You can beat the campaign without touching anything, and the point of it is the characters go up to level 50, so you get skill points in the trees. When I beat the campaign, not a single one of my characters was above 8. So like you don't really get a full, I guess, sense of all the characters until you level them up. But Iron Man's he has lasers, repulsors, and rockets for his thing, and you can switch through them with the D-pad. And it's really fun to chain lasers, rockets, and these together. So you start by punching with the repulsors, turn into rockets to knock them up, and then switch to lasers to do the spinning move that he does in Iron Man 2 to knock some people away. So like you can start to combo these as you get more skills later, but like you don't need those for the campaign because you're really just they're very narrow focus. Like you need to go here and do this. But yeah, I think you're gonna be where you are, Mike. I know you're in for some treats coming, some really big set pieces you're gonna enjoy. So
yeah, you'll have to just be patient out there if you're looking forward to us talking about the campaign because I'm just slow at playing video games. That's just my personality.
There literally is a million other options out there. Like I've been playing a lot of Fortnite lately because again it's Marvel focused, right? And I can jump on with people there, and it's free. It's easy to jump in. So. Yeah, definitely there's no rush to beat this game. It's going to be around for a while with, again, in October, Kate Bishop coming as a playable character, and then Clint Barton as Hawkeye the following month in November. And I assume, knock on wood here, things come out, I'm playing, it's either going to be Captain Marvel or Black Panther in December as an album.
Ooh, that'll be fun.
Yeah, really excited for this. Game as a service, if you will, and We'll talk more about new consoles later, Mike, but what have you been up to? I didn't get to watch anything this week again. You know this. We're recording now after I had to go do some extracurricular work. And that has been my week all week. Doing more and more work on the side to get ready to buy me an Xbox when it launches. So you've got some PSAs here. It doesn't look like these maybe, at least some of these are not new, but maybe one of them is. So tell me what's going on here.
I like the theme, the Quaran-Stream, if you will. So I thought a good theme for this week's Quaran-Stream is public service announcements. So first up off the bat, there's this new slightly fictional docu-series. I don't even really remember quite the title of how they described it, but it's called The Social Dilemma, and it actually kind of almost is filmed kind of like an after-school PSA, if you will, where it's a mixture of a documentary, but then every once in a while they cut to a fictional narrative with like actors that they cast to kind of show you what the current situation of social media is right now with this fictional family. So it's kind of weird, like going back to the days of like after school PSAs, but mixed with like a real kind of gritty documentary about social media. It had one of my favorite kind of upcoming actors right now, Skylar Gizondo. I don't even know how you say his last name, but he's been in like Booksmart, Santa Clarita Diet. He's also in The Righteous Gemstones. He's been in a lot of stuff that I like. So he was part of the fictional part of the documentary, but it's just basically all about like how social media is like just mining literally everything about your life. So I don't think they went quite deep enough into a lot of the really disturbing things. So there's definitely a lot more here to touch on. But if you wanted to kind of maybe scale back how much you're on your smartphone or how much you're kind of just sucked into social media and how much it controls your life, this might convince you to maybe put the phone down, get those screen time numbers down that, you know, the Apple report sends you every Sunday.
Yeah.
There was some kind of cringy parts where they kind of do this kind of inside out type of thing of these Facebook personified as like these computer people that are like trying to feed you ads, and it's just kind of weird and all over the place, but it'll definitely change your opinion on social media overall. But I think the biggest takeaway is at the very end of this, when the credits are rolling, they kind of ask these questions to the people they interviewed. It was like, oh, what are some good ways to maybe minimize how much you use social media? What are some good ways to stem some of the anxiety? And all of them were basically like, just turn your notifications off. You don't need your device like constantly pinging you and like bothering you and distracting you. Like if something's like really critical and like necessary, like somebody's going to call you on your phone, you know? So, and I would highly recommend this because I turned my notifications off for like everything like years ago, and it's like great. Like nothing bothers me anymore. And I even turned off the double notification for when you get a text message, because I think by default on the iPhone, you get 2 notifications every time you get a text. Like if you haven't checked it, like in 5 minutes, they'll ping you again. So yeah, my phone's like pretty locked down, and it's really helped overall. So yeah.
Says the guy who wants an Apple Watch. Be careful with what you wish for.
Well, I would turn the notifications off there. It would only be if I flip my wrist. And to be fair, I just want the health data. That's really what I want.
I know. I'm just giving you hell. Hey, it's gonna tell you, hey, you're not walking enough. Hey, get off your ass for a minute.
So yeah, like we said, so if 2020 wasn't already awful enough, if you want to be extra paranoid about social media, go check out The Social Dilemma on Netflix. PSA number 2 is we were on Hulu the other day and we started rewatching Parks and Rec because it's a glorious show and I love everything about it. But on Hulu, we just got the notification badge right by the episodes that the show is expiring, and I think now it's 11 days. So I think the contract is finally expiring for Parks and Rec over on Hulu because it's an NBC property. So I'm almost 100% certain that it's going to move over exclusively to Peacock.
Yes.
And I think even Parks and Rec also might be streaming on Amazon right now as well. Not 100% sure.
There's a website
but I gotta
for
imagine. I got to imagine all of these contracts are expiring. So crossing my fingers, hoping Peacock will get its crap together and put a streaming app up on Roku. I think I can possibly do it on my PlayStation, but I don't like powering up a PlayStation just to stream something, especially when I got a Roku stick plugged into the TV. So still waiting on HBO Max and Peacock to get on my Roku.
Peacock recently reached a deal with Roku this week. I believe I saw it yesterday or Friday.
Oh, excellent. So, that's good news.
You are on the cusp of getting that option for you. But yeah, you can actually stream a lot of this Prime Video, Hulu, Peacock. It's actually on Peacock as well already. Sling, DirecTV, Fubo, Comedy Central, and USA. Streaming services all have them. So.
Yeah, I suppose your options are much broader if you have a cable subscription. But if you're just purely a streamer like me, I guess we decided we're going to see if we can try to finish the whole series in like the next 10 days, which is not hard to do when you're working from home and you're quarantined. So there you go. PSA, just in general, your NBC properties might be moving over to Peacock exclusively, so check that out. Number 3, a very very show in all senses of the words that the wife and I just started watching, The Golden Girls, which is an ABC property that I believe is going to stay on Hulu probably forever since Disney owns that streaming service majority consuming. But Golden Girls has been pretty fun. It's a very old show with old actors, and it's just fun. These old ladies are pretty funny. I don't know. It's just weird. It's always just kind of weird going back and watching like a sitcom and like 4x3, and it's just something I never watched growing up because like what like, you know, like 8-year-old boy is gonna like turn on the Golden Girls? Like it just wasn't me. So it's been fun going back and like rediscovering this show. That's like a classic. I mean, people have been talking about this show for I think a year or two now because it was just recently added to Hulu in the last couple years, and people are kind of rediscovering it, or like me discovering it for the first time. I don't know if you've ever noticed this, Chris, but whenever I go back and watch something, I would say I don't want to say like vintage because it's not like I'm listening to like a radio talk show, but like whenever I go back to watch something that, you know, was shot back in, I think it's early 90s, possibly. Yeah, I think it's early 90s.
Golden Girls?
Maybe. Yeah.
I want to say it was like late 80s-ish.
Yeah, late 80s, but it's definitely the late 80s, early 90s vibes. Whenever I watch something like that, it's hard for me to like really binge it because I feel like just the age and the quality of the visuals overall just kind of weighs on me a little bit. So I can only watch like 2 or 3 episodes at a time, but I'm having a good time with the Golden Girls.
Well, that's good. That's good. One of my people on my team, he's a large Golden Girls fan. So yeah, I hear about it a lot more than I wish I did sometimes. But that's her prerogative.
My favorite's Dorothy. I love Dorothy.
Oh.
She keeps all of these crazy old ladies in check, and she's my favorite.
Yeah. That's a big thing these days.
Yeah,
Lastly,
go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say lastly here, and I think the most important PSA is I think the best thing that could possibly soothe the 2020 woes. Coming to Netflix in the United States on Friday, The Great British Bake Off returns. If you're lucky enough to be across the pond in the UK, I believe you can start watching it on like Tuesday or Wednesday because we have to wait a couple days until we get it over here in America on Netflix. But The Great British Bake Off will just soothe all of my woes. I'm looking forward to it so much. I'm hoping that they didn't have to change the formula of the show too much because it was filmed during the pandemic. I mean, we're still in a pandemic right now, so it was definitely filmed during COVID risk season, if you will. So hopefully didn't have to change things up too much, but I definitely don't mind the hosts of the show making fun of the kind of gravity of the world that we're living in. And we're supposed to be getting a new host, I believe Noel Fielding, I don't know how to say his last name. He's still there, but We're getting a new host. I don't know who that is. I'm sure I could Google and find out. So yeah, I can't wait to power up Netflix on Friday and watch me some GBBO.
Yeah, that's what my wife told me. She was like, Great British Bake Off on Friday. I'm like, thrilling. I mean, it's just good stuff, but I'm like, just tell me on Thursday. I mean, I gotta get through the week now.
Yeah, like every day I wake up and I tell my wife we're just a couple more days away. So yeah, if you have not watched The Great British Bake Off, I'm so jealous because there's such a backlog for you to consume on Netflix right now. You would not have to worry about finding anything to watch until the COVID vaccine is available. Like, I wish I have never seen it before so I could just mainline the show. It's just great. I love everything about it. It's the best reality competition show, bar none. I would debate it into the ground. It will beat everything senseless.
It is it's a nice cooking show. People are nice to each other. And that's something you don't get in a lot of these cooking shows going on.
Yeah, Chris is a little bit more even keeled.
I am a little bit more even keeled. I think it's a lovely thing, but just like anything, again, I was the one who had to the I guess, enjoyment of what you would say mainlining this earlier this summer. And the problem with these live shows is they become formulaic when you watch them all at once. And I'm like, this is really ruining the experience. So hopefully with a new host, they may, and the way they had to film it, it's probably going to be different than it has been before. It's just, when you start seeing those, again, it's like watching Whose Line Is It Anyway, right, on repeat. You start seeing all the same skits over and over again.
Oh, yeah,
and I'm like, oh, I wish I hadn't done this. Really ruins the magic. So that's kind of where I'm at. I mean, that's definitely a great show to watch, and you guys should just turn it on because you're going to be like, oh, this is fun. You're going to understand the reference to what a soggy bottom is. And a lot of things are very much underbaked. So enjoy that, if you will. And it's all British because, like, you see a lot of British recipes. Like, who would eat that?
Yeah, that's the best part about it, is if you're an American, everything British already seems magical and fantastic and mysterious to you. So you're just learning so much.
Yeah, it's a good time.
That is the Quaran-Stream. Those are my PSAs, if you will, to move forward into 2020. And I hope you do not combust into flames if you live out here on the West Coast, or drowned from a hurricane if you're over there on the East Coast. And God only knows what's happening in the rest of the world.
Yeah, we're in the middle where that heat and that cold will mix for tornadoes. So, real.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So, yeah, hold on and watch out for natural disasters. We had an earthquake a couple days ago. I almost got swallowed into the ground.
Go get some pumpkin spice stuff. Let's just enjoy the little things in life while we can. Mm-hmm. All right, let's shift gears, Mike. Let's jump into these news here. Biggest news, I think, this week. Unexpected. She-Hulk has found its Jennifer Walters. Mm-hmm. Actress Tatiana Maslany, known for her roles mostly in Orphan Black, where she played literally the main character and her 7 clones throughout this whole season, has been cast as Jennifer Walters, She-Hulk herself, the lawyer, and that is, I think, awesome news. I think she's a really good actor, and she's like, what's that? I just mentioned this show earlier. It's on HBO. Perry Mason. She's been in Perry Mason as well lately. So
yeah, this was kind of interesting. I was actually looking forward to who are they going to cast as She-Hulk, just because I feel like a lot of the fan castings I weren't really vibing with. Like, some people were pitching like Alison Brie from Community and Glow, and I was like, I just don't know. I don't feel her as the role. Some people were pitching like some MMA fighters, which is just like, they don't need to be muscular. They're going to make them muscular. Bruce Banner is not like a buff guy. You don't have to cast like a human being that's like jacked to play these characters. So I wasn't too worried about that. So I was actually kind of happy to see somebody that I'm not too familiar with. Obviously, some people are huge fans of shows that she's been in. I actually had to go on IMDb because I was totally unfamiliar with her. But I was actually happy to see that she cameoed in a couple episodes of Parks and Rec. So I actually was familiar with her. I just didn't even know it. She plays a love interest for Tom, who is played by Aziz Ansari, and I think she plays like a doctor, and it only lasts for like a couple episodes. So I was like, okay, I am familiar with her a little bit. So sometimes when I'm not sure what Marvel should do when it comes down to casting, I'm always okay with them kind of. Like I'm saying, she's not being plucked from obscurity, but she is being plucked from obscurity to me. So I'm totally cool with this, and I'm really looking forward to really just the budget overall for the show, because why can't I think of Bruce Banner, who's
Mark
the actor
Ruffalo?
that plays it? Mark Ruffalo, that's right. I was like on the tip of my tongue. I was surprised to see him tweet not long after the announcement that says welcome to the club, cuz.
Yeah.
So he just kind of outright confirmed for the most part that this is going to be the cousin of Bruce Banner. And then also I was curious, do you think he did that on accident? Because we all know Uncle Ruffalo likes to accidentally post stuff on the internet.
I mean, Jennifer Walters is always in the comic books been the cousin of Bruce Banner. That's always been her thing. She got her powers of the She-Hulk because of a blood transfusion from him. So my question is, is this how does, again, we've talked about this, how does the Smart Hulk, if you will, Professor Hulk, tie into the series? And then also, will she be green all the time, or will she transform back and forth? Because some versions she's always green, some versions she's not. She's currently a playable character in the Fortnite Marvel thing that you can unlock, and you can get a red She-Hulk. But she is the Jennifer Walters' lawyer office is a point of interest in the game map as well, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, it would be fun, and it would make sense to make her be able to transform, because this is a television show, it's a series, there's more stories I think you can tell if she transforms from human to Hulk. You know, you can have more fun with that. But at the same time, I almost want them to make her green all the time, because I really want to see the MCU go full premium on a series. I mean, if she was green all the time, this would be the most expensive show, and this would really, really prove what Kevin Feige said, that these are not going to be just series. These are going to be cinematic quality, just happen to be cut down into episodes. So I would honestly like to see it either way.
I think the whole point of her, if she could transform, is imagine a lawyer losing her cool in a courtroom and turning into the She-Hulk.
That would be cool.
Like that's where she really is a lawyer, and how does she reconcile this? And maybe by the end, she's permanently the She-Hulk kind of deal. But I think this is, as an actress, she's been great. She's been awarded a bunch of things, and again, I mostly know her from Orphan Black, because she was the main actress in that role and played different clones of the characters. So she was I think 5 or 6 of her in some scenes at some point near the end of it. So I definitely think she's got the acting chops. And the other part of this is director Cairo, who's known for the show Dead to Me, is set as a director for the pilot and other episodes along the way as well. So they're making some casting, getting this production, sounds like pre-production in place to start filming the show probably sooner than later, if I was a betting man for that.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like there might need a lot of lead time, because what do we know from all of the Avengers movies that has featured the Hulk? We've always gotten reports that the last thing to get done is usually the animation on the Hulk. I mean, usually the guy doesn't even make it into the first debut trailer because they're still busy animating him. So yeah, I would imagine there's got to be a lot of lead time for post-production on this show.
Yeah, and they're probably not just going to paint her green. That'd be too Gamora, if you will.
Yeah, that's true.
So I like to see that. So yeah, She-Hulk on the horizon. The other thing is Miss Marvel is lining up some directors as well for this show. So first and foremost, the biggest names are Adil, Arbi, and Bilall Fallah. They directed Bad Boys for Life recently this year, which I think was one of the #1 movies this year for a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not a lot of choices, but...
Yeah, for a while, out of circumstances, that was the #1 movie.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was looking, I mean, it's got a... it's regarded above average across Rotten Tomatoes, IMDb.
I'm not even trying to downplay it either. Even before the pandemic hit, there was positive vibes about this film.
Yeah, except why would you call it For Life if it's the third movie? Again, wasted opportunity here. But people enjoyed it. Will Smith and was it Martin Lawrence back together? So there's some of the directors. Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy. I'm butchering these names. Obviously, they're hiring directors who are in the cultural community for Kamala Khan, who's a Muslim American. She's known for documentary films, and the other one is Meera Menon, who directed episodes of the Punisher TV show, the Titans show, and Walking Dead as well. So no stranger to, I guess, a niche TV series.
Yeah, they all seem very very capable to take on this. I'm looking forward to the casting for Miss Marvel. I mean, I'm not too familiar with a lot of Muslim actors, so I'm curious if this is going to be somebody we're familiar with that has maybe been in something before, or maybe if they're going to cast somebody brand new, because they'll have to be young. Yeah. I mean, I know you can cast somebody in their 20s that looks like they're a teenager, but I feel like this could be a chance for them to really elevate somebody that we've never heard of before.
Well, and again, playing Marvel's Avengers, the main character in this is Kamala Khan. She is the linchpin of the story, and then the voice actress for that is just knocking it out of the park. I think
very great.
I think great character, great study of that one, and she nailed that. So that's going to leave us wanting for someone to also do that in the live action version as well. On that note, at the top of the show, we mentioned WandaVision, an upcoming Disney Plus roll video showing everything coming the rest of this year, specifically mentions WandaVision being released before the end of 2020. So yeah, I think that's pretty cool. I mean, that's what we wanted, right? That's exactly what we need to get through this.
And that it makes me wonder if that's going to tie into a bit of news here that we're going to talk about in a second with Black Widow.
Yeah, I mean, we can definitely talk about it. So I think going through this, there's some stuff. Also, I wanted to point out, it's not necessarily MCU, but there are more X-Men movies coming to Disney Plus. I saw X2. and some other ones coming through here. So I'm excited to see what Disney Plus keeps giving us. They have a large back catalog, so keeping that fresh is pretty awesome in my book. And then Mike's moving my show notes on me here as we talk because he wants to talk about this next, and that's fine. But Black Widow has started removing the release date from international marketing materials, which is an indicator of something I think is that it's going to be coming to Disney Plus, but only in select countries as a premium option in November.
Yeah, and my conspiracy theory to tie it back into WandaVision here real quick is that there's something possibly in this movie that needs to be out there in the world until the MCU can move forward. Like, I don't think it's necessarily going to be huge and earth-shattering, but it could be. There could be a post-credit scene that really sets up something in there. We've seen in the past that the post-credit scenes sometimes will set up the very next movie for that character, or it'll even set up the next thing to come out in the MCU. And either way you look at it, there might not be another thing to set up for a Black Widow movie moving forward. So maybe there is something WandaVision related in the Black Widow, and once that's out into the world, in PVOD, we can finally get WandaVision.
Yeah, I don't think it's that at all, to be honest. I don't think these two are going to connect, since Black Widow's a backwards piece and WandaVision's is a forward piece, if you will. Because if you look, there's a lot of Wanda was dead for 5 years. Spoiler for Infinity War, if you will. And Black Widow is dead at the end of those 5 years, before she even comes back. So I don't know if they'll tie together, but it is good to have these two, again, a female-led Marvel series kind of kicking off the end of the year here for us. The other thing is, people think it might be delayed. However, there's some financial reports saying that Mulan, on its premium video on demand, made $261 million in the U.S. alone, which is pretty good for a movie. Just digital.
Pretty good compared to the initial number that we reported a few weeks ago. The rumor floating around was that they were looking to, sell 3 million digital copies. Was that the number?
No, it was like 90 something, wasn't it? Like 90.
Well, the not the dollar amount, the actual PVOD.
Oh, I thought they were trying to sell like 90 million accounts at $30 a piece.
No, it would have been what they wanted to do. I believe, if I remember right, they were looking to sell 3 million digital downloads, which would have netted them $90 million. And that's what they were looking for to consider good. Now, this definitely blows that out of the water. This is like 3 times more than what they were expecting. But also, they had very, very poor box office returns in China, which is probably where they thought they were going to get a lion's share of this from. So I don't know if this kind of equals out their expectations or what will happen, but it seems like this kind of green lights Black Widow, hopefully, for PVOD, if they exceeded expectations with Mulan.
Right, and again, I think here's the thing. Whenever it came out for premium, it didn't come out premium everywhere, which is just the way the legal things work in different countries, right? So I think it went to the theaters in China, but I don't know if it went premium. It did.
No, it definitely went into the theaters in China for Mulan because the theaters were open over there. But there was a poor return for sure.
Yeah, so I think there's an option here. If maybe they delay Black Widow for international release, right, or have to get a brand new date for premium. But because I think Marvel owns all this stuff, they've had time to think about, like, hey, if we don't release something, we're going to lose out more money than we'll gain. There's probably a nice window here. So I think, Disney has an investor day on October 7th, Mike. And guess what they could do there? Announce all these casting things we talked about for Ms. Marvel, maybe new release dates for all these shows, because a lot of them are kicking back into production. I think October 7th would be a day for them to say, hey, look, we're going to release Black Widow in a month on premium, so get ready. The other thing was, I didn't put it in here because we didn't talk Mulan. Mulan's expiration date for when it goes off of premium, I think, is the first week of November. And then it's not coming out for free until like the second week of November or third week of November. So there's like a week where nothing is in this premium service range, which is exactly when Black Widow was planning on releasing.
Yeah, I think they're going to hit us with a three-punch combo. I think in October, well, technically it's the end of October, so it's almost November, but in October, we're going to get The Mandalorian, which is going to be a big, big push on Disney Plus, if you happen to miss it the first time around, get your subscription ready. The Mandalorian is coming back. And then in November, we'll get Black Widow. And then in December, we'll get WandaVision. I think they're really going to come strong here at like the last quarter of the year. And they're really going to plus up the Disney Plus subscriptions.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing here. I think WandaVision's release schedule is not based on Black Widow, but more of when does The Mandalorian wrap up? Because 8 episodes starts October 30th. That puts it like right at that Christmas range, right? So if they're like, okay, WandaVision is the last week of the year, or the next last week of the year, maybe the same week of the last episode of The Mandalorian.
The Mandalorian should theoretically wrap up the weekend before Thanksgiving. So like the 20th, if I'm counting things out right.
No, that's 4 weeks.
That would be 8 weeks. Oh, wait,
no, you got to go into December, so you would have been in.
Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I started counting in September. That's right.
Yeah.
So we got here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 18th. So week before Christmas.
So my guess is if they don't know, I think there's no question WandaVision will do great. But if they wanted to tie it to the end of the same day as the Mandalorian finale, they could do so. So people who already have a subscription don't cancel it. Or they do it the next week, literally on Christmas Friday, which that would be weird to put something out on Christmas.
But at the same time, there is a very strong history of people releasing movies on Christmas Day. So maybe they're trying to vibe with that audience that won't be able to go out.
Yeah. Well, either way, I think that's window, that 18th to 31st is our window for WandaVision. Because they want, again, we've talked about this, they want to keep subscriptions, and they have 8 to 6 episodes of WandaVision. That's another 2 payments minimum for
you know what? There. If we're really talking about Christmas, if we're really talking about entertainment for that time of the year, whether or not you're into the religious side of it or whatever, they just dropped the trailer for Christmas Chronicles 2. I haven't watched it yet, but my wife told me oh man, the trailer's out, and I can't believe I haven't watched it yet. But that first movie was surprisingly good, so I'm looking forward to the sequel. So I should have put that up there in my PSA for the Quaran-Stream. Go watch the Christmas Chronicles, but don't watch the first one until after Thanksgiving, because it's a travesty to watch Christmas movies until Thanksgiving is over. That's just my opinion.
It's true. Also, Wonder Woman is currently scheduled for Christmas Day, Mike. And what a slap to the face that would be if you could stay at home and watch WandaVision instead of going to the theaters to watch Wonder Woman. So,
oh man, we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
I think here's the thing. October 7th. 3 weeks, 4 weeks? Not 3 weeks, right? Maybe 27th. 3 weeks. We will know. We will be talking 3 episodes what these dates are based on that Investor Day call for Disney. So,
yeah, we got to get does Bob Iger do these calls, or is it Bob Chapek that does it now? I don't know who's in charge of these investor calls.
I mean, they were making a transition, but who knows how that.
Well, went. You know what? Both of their first names are Bob. We just need to get Bob on the phone in a couple weeks and see what's going on.
It's a Bob call. So yeah. Ant-Man 3. I thought this was the biggest news this week, actually earlier in the week, and it feels like it's been forever ago again. Actor Jonathan Majors from Mike's favorite show right now, Lovecraft Country, has been cast in Ant-Man 3, and not as anyone you would ever expect to be cast, Mike. They cast him as none other than Kang the Conqueror, the time-traveling villain.
Yes, this is so cool. I'm so excited. I love Kang because as of most of my entry points for Marvel and comic books, DC included, it always comes down to animated TV shows because I love animation. I love cartoons. There's a meme going around on Twitter right now where you post a screenshot of like a video game that you played as a kid that you spent a lot of time on, and then you just say, oh, I grew up here. And I participated, and I put a picture up of the Spider-Man comic book maker. It was a CD-ROM game where you could put your comics together. So my entry point for all of this stuff has always been like animated stuff. And it's always been comic books second. I usually go to the comic books to get more historical detail, and then I just drink up all the animation stuff. So I really love the arc of Kang the Conqueror in Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, which you can stream over on Disney Plus right now. And Chris, when you sent me this news, like the first thing I did was I booted up Earth's Mightiest Heroes again, and I went and watched all the Kang episodes.
Kang, the best intro to Kang is to this, because he's not just a one and done episode villain, right? Like he's a long-term thing, because he in fact has time travel to his advantage. He's a time traveling person. He's been created in the Fantastic Four, and he's gone through different iterations. The younger version of him is called Iron Lad. He was like Rama Tut when he was trapped in Egypt for a while back in the history. So he's a long thing of traveling through time. And people ask me, like, well, isn't he just Thanos at the end of Endgame? I'm like, no, Thanos just kind of jumped forward based on the stuff. But if Ant-Man and the quantum technology has been creating new times, or dealing with time, Kang the Conqueror is primed to come through in Ant-Man 3. And hopefully they don't do what they did with Spider-Man and pull the rug out from us. Like, no, he's not really a time traveler. We're just messing with you. But they do stick to it because I think he's a really compelling villain. All he wants to do, he's a time traveling Mr. Freeze, right? His wife is in stasis while they try to find a cure for her throughout time. So
yeah, I think the status of the love interest kind of changes. Like, I think sometimes it's a wife, sometimes it's a love interest.
Yeah.
I was doing a lot of research on Kang over the weekend because I wanted to know kind of what Earth's Mightiest Heroes doesn't talk and mention on, because I saw a lot of people talking and really, I would say, extrapolating maybe too far about what Reed Richards might end up looking like in the MCU, because I guess in the comic books, one of the earlier iterations of Kang stipulates that he is the son, like, or a very distant relative of Reed Richards, or maybe he's his father. I don't really know, but there's a relation connection between Reed Richards. But when I was looking through all of these different wikis out there when it comes to Kang, it's almost like a footnote. There just seems to be like one arc where they talk about Reed Richards and Kang being connected, and then it doesn't seem to come up again. And I would love to be corrected. If anybody really, really knows the origins and details thoroughly with Kang and the Fantastic Four and Reed's family tree connects to him anymore, I'd love to know. But we all know the MCU likes to do whatever they want to fit their narrative the best. So I wouldn't just go ahead and assume that Kang the Conqueror is going to be related to Reed Richards, because a lot of people were doing fan castings of just like, okay, well, if Kang the Conqueror is technically, going to be African American, does that mean Reed Richards is going to be within that lineage? So let's do all these fan castings for Reed Richards. But I'm really curious what they'll do with Kang, because he looks like an alien almost. Like he's a purple person when he's at least in Earth's Mightiest Heroes and the incarnations I've seen on the comic book panels. So I don't know if in the future there's some like DNA cosmetic stuff that he does with them or what.
It's a suit. He actually looks like he's actually a human. So he's that blue stuff and the purple, that's all suit. I'm pretty sure in Earth's Mightiest Heroes he takes it off at one point as well.
Well, he does take it off within the prison cell that he's in, but he still looks purple. So I don't know if that's just an animation thing that they decided to do or what.
Yeah, he's so in the comic books he is a 31st century or later possible descendant of Reed Richards. There's no guarantee he is, but they could do that. But he
yeah, it looks like you're right. I'm looking him up without a mask, and he doesn't look like he appears very often without a mask in the comic books. But yeah, there's a couple.
But his younger version again is Iron Lad, which is essentially, if you look up Iron Lad, it's like a young version of Iron Man, right? And I think that's where his suit starts to come from as he gets older and becomes the villain known as Kang or Immortus or whatever version you come across. And they've tied all these together. But at the same time, time travel in Ant-Man's great. Again, they've talked about MODOK being the villain. He could still be in here, right? Like, there's still an opportunity for them to have Kang and MODOK. And how crazy would that be for Ant-Man 3 to pull out all these stops? Like, be like, yeah, we're just going to have everything you want in here. Like,
yeah,
a little more.
I mean, talk about just like injecting Ant-Man 3 with all of the coolest stuff all of a sudden. And it really makes sense with the MCU. I mean, the last big movie that we just saw was all about time travel, and Kang really does not like people messing with the timeline. He's going around trying to fix this stuff. So I could totally see him show up. And what he does is he's trying to find the moment, like where the timeline really got messed up. And, Ant-Man kind of was the person that messed everything up, proposed the idea, came out of the quantum realm via a rat. Maybe Kang is just trying to go back in time and kill that rat, so Ant-Man never gets out of the quantum realm.
And at the same time, again, if they decide to play off Ant-Man 2 with what's her name's mom, Hope Van Dyne, right, coming out of the quantum realm, possibly having some weird abilities that they need to explain, but at the same time, I think King and MODOK are just both like great science fiction. One's mystical, one's sciencey. But I was thinking just a second ago, the Loki show is filming, right? And that's about time police. So if they cast him this early before filming, maybe he'll make a cameo in the Loki show while they're filming it before coming to Ant-Man 3.
I love that idea. Yeah, it seems like they're trying to build up this story idea that we have just these normal human beings that have existed on Earth that all of a sudden have been granted this power, through different origins. Captain America, it's through science. Well, with a lot of these heroes, it's through science. And then all of a sudden, this one little planet that most people have described as insignificant in the MCU has wrought all of this universe expanding issues. And it's just it would make sense as all these people would start showing up, be like, hey, what the hell did you guys do? We thought this was a planet just filled with a bunch of hairless apes that we didn't have to worry about. So, but back to the casting, Jonathan Majors, I love this guy in Lovecraft Country. He's amazing. I've been pitching this show every week on the podcast. You got to watch Lovecraft Country. You don't even need to watch it just to check this guy out. Just watch it in general because it's amazing, and he does an amazing job on it.
Well, we forgot to mention up at the top of the show, Mike did the fan art for She-Hulk this week, Mike. So thank you for doing that for our thumbnail image.
Hey, no worries. I try to reach my inner boss logic every once in a while.
Well, here's the thing. Looking at Jonathan Majors, the fan art for Kang the Conqueror fits perfectly. Actually, that's what I was thinking about. I'm like, have you seen him? But they dressed him up as Kang. I'm like, he looks exactly the part without any extra work. So I'm like, they nailed the look for this guy. And I think here's the thing with Loki also being a time his show based around time travel anyway, because he got out of Endgame and alive. I think we were going to see some small bits of time travel's repercussions in the next phase or two. So, and this is great.
And
this is awesome.
If this does end up to slowly loop around and connect to the Fantastic Four in any way, I'm totally down to see some Fantastic Four news coming out in the future. It's just we've been in such a lull of kind of really big, groundbreaking, earth-shattering MCU news just this year. I love getting this stuff.
It's been about 1 year, so we need something good. What's that look like? Switching gears, what we're looking forward to watching, Mike, The Mandalorian. Who's not excited for Mandalorian? Season 2 dropped a trailer on us this week. Does it give us anything spoilery? No.
We were all kind of expecting to see Ahsoka in this, right?
I had to watch it 4 times to make sure. It's WWE actress Sasha Banks there in the same skin color as Ahsoka, but it is not Ahsoka in this thing several times. So where's it going? It sounds like the armor is telling him to go rejoin this the child with his original species, which is the species of Yoda, which we don't know what it is. So I think we're going to get some cool Star Wars lore reveals this season, Mike, all around.
Yeah, we got some. I was excited to see there's some X-wings in this trailer. I don't believe we had any X-wings in the first season. So I thought that
were there any around that space prison? Is that what they? I think.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there were some sitting in there. No, but they're definitely in flight. They are actively moving around.
No, remember in the one where he goes with the crew to the space prison, they blow up the space prison, or where that ship is with the X-wings.
Oh, they do? Man, I guess I just need to rewatch the show.
Because that was where Dave Filoni had his cameo in the X-wing stuff. So yeah. But either way, this is more memorable X-wings, if you will. Seeing them in flight, I think there's a lot more Grief Karva, played by the actor, I can't think of his name off the top of my head. What's his name, Mike? He does the thing with Arnold Schwarzenegger. He was
I don't know what you're talking about, man.
He was in season 1 of The Mandalorian. He betrayed the Mando and then came on the side there at the end. There's only 3 characters: Mandalorian, Grief Karva, and Cara Dune. So, Carl Weathers, there it is. Damn.
There, okay.
I was like, there's only 3 characters, and then there's the villain guy, who I'm going to keep referring to from his Breaking Bad. But I know he's in The Boys too.
I've historically never been good with character names in TV shows.
Yeah. So it looks like they're getting more screen time with them, going out and doing things and being off of the planet. So I'm excited, Mike. Anything you want to add to that? October 30th.
Well, I saw that there's been some eagle-eyed people with going frame by frame, much like you were in this trailer. And there's a shot where he's driving away from camera on a speeder. And some people have taken some screenshots, and I feel like they've zoomed and enhanced, and they feel like they might see Boba Fett's armor attached to the speeder, kind of like luggage. It's kind of hard to tell. Humans really like to recognize patterns. That's kind of what our brain is meant for. So they could just be literally looking at innocuous pixels, but there's a chance that he might at least come across the OG Boba Fett armor at some point in this season.
Well, there is a character who is playing that sheriff who's wearing Boba Fett's armor. So,
so I mean, that could be a sign that he kills him and strips the armor off of him.
Well, my guess is he's already been dead. Remember, he fell into the Sarlacc pit.
Well, hey, we don't know yet.
We don't know nothing. But I mean, we're in the countdown, Mike. We're 40 days away. So, we got something to look forward to, at least that we haven't had before. On the other side of that stuff, something you can look forward to, Mike, is a Super Mario animated movie in the works for 2022 release.
2022, 2 years to go.
Yep, they've officially announced it. I think Sonic did good, got a sequel in the works, so Mario was next, right? Like, you gotta move through these console icons. But I only bring this up because, are you familiar with Super Mario All-Stars 3D for the Switch that came out this week?
Yeah, I saw that. I thought it was pretty cool that they were riffing off probably one of the best SNES combos ever made, which was Super Mario All-Stars, where you got just so many games. So I thought the original cartridge had more games than this does, though. This has 3 games, right?
Yeah, the Super Mario All-Stars 3D never had any games to begin with. This is a brand new thing, but the original one had 4 games, and then the Switch Online version still has the 4 games. So there's Mario 1, 2, 3, and the Lost Levels, which you can play. All Stars 3D comes with Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy, all in one little Switch. And I bought it. Yeah, I have it. I've never played any of these games.
Ooh, you're about to have some fun.
Yeah.
I've played Super Mario 64. I would say a decent chunk of it. I mean, I actually was doing some nerdy stuff this weekend, and I love looking into speedruns for video games. So I went to the Speedrun Archive, I think that's what it's called, and I was curious what the most speedrun games were out there. And Super Mario 64 is like either number 1 or number 2. Like that's like the game that people have just been drilling away on for years and years and years, trying to beat it as fast as possible, all the different categories of the ways that you can beat it. So it's a beloved game. But I have played Super Mario Galaxy, and that game is beautiful. That is, I believe that game won Game of the Year when it came out, and it deserves every award that it won. It just really, really played with 3D space better than anyone else will ever have. But it would have been cool if they could have thrown in like a Lost Levels type of game. I don't know what it would have been because it has to exist in order to put it in there, but that was the kind of the really cool thing about the original All-Stars was, you finally get to play like this Japanese game that never existed here in America. So, if it doesn't exist, obviously you can't put it in the game, but it would have been fun if they could have found like something that was a little bit more of an X factor, if you will. Well, so, that would have been neat.
Well, I think the biggest thing here, it proves the Switch can play both Wii and 64 games. These are the first ones that have come out for it. So does this open the window for more of these classic games? Again, I know there's a new Pokemon Snap coming out. Does the old one come to the Switch? Do you get to play GoldenEye? Do you get Donkey Kong 64 in the?
How many times will Nintendo sell you the same game over and over through your life?
But here's the beauty of this: the Nintendo Switch. If you buy their $20 per year online, you get access to regular Nintendo and Super Nintendo games already. They're just shy of putting 64 games on there. So I've never played Mario 64 or Sunshine or Galaxy, so I'm very excited to revisit these pretty much what people consider classics without having to get an emulator and put them on my computer at the end of the day.
I don't remember the name of the level, but it's literally one of the first levels in Mario 64. It might be called Mushroom Hill. Or Goomba Hill, I don't remember what it's called, but there's chain chomps in it, and if you run to the center of the chain chomp and you butt pound the little wooden peg, you can free the chain chomp. So that's fun. You can release him from his servitude.
Does he chase after you freely after that, or?
No, he just catapults off into the horizon. He gets the fuck out of there.
The only thing I know about that game is people yeeting the baby penguin over the edge of the cliff.
People like to do that.
That's about all I get. So I'm very excited to play this. This is a great offline single player game that you can go through and relive that. Someone told me Super Mario Sunshine is like Mario on a community service because he has to like go clean up the world or something. So
oh yeah, that game has some fun mechanics. I've watched some Let's Plays of that game, and it does look really fun. Very pretty.
Yeah.
It's got a great Super Smash Brothers level. That one's fun.
Yeah. Well, there we go. So, yeah, if you're looking for some games to add to your Switch, some nostalgia, there you go. But also this week we have the future of video games, Mike. And the PlayStation 5 did their big announcement with their pricing, and then they were like, we're going to let you know when pre-orders are coming up, and then like pre-orders were that night and they sold out. Like it was a fiasco.
They didn't let you know.
It was a disaster. People are very upset. There's scalpers all over eBay. But the price, again, in line with the Xbox Series X, $500, the standard intro price. But I'm going to talk about some of the games they announced, Mike. First and foremost, Spider-Man Miles Morales, the sequel to the fan favorite Spider-Man game, right? They announced it's going to be on PlayStation 4 as well, so you do not have to buy a PS5 to play this. They fooled us.
We can play this, Chris. Yay!
Yeah, they fooled us.
This is going to be
time.
great. Yeah, I'm just kind of thumbing through the trailer reveal here for more of the gameplay, and man, it looks beautiful.
The abilities look different. He's got the shocking, the stinging punches. He can go invisible. A lot more particle effects going on in this than the other one was.
Yeah, which there's a chance I might not see these particles on my PS4, but I gotta play this game because I'm probably not gonna upgrade until I upgrade my TV in the future, because I don't think I'm gonna get a lot of my value out of it until that happens. But man, this just looks great.
Yeah.
Looks beautiful. Looks like so much. I'm just like watching the combat right now, and I'm just like geeking out.
And the Tinker, I believe, is the villain, and it's been kind of gender swapped here. People think it sounds like Rosario Dawson as the voice actress for that. So I assume there will be more villains as well. But again, if you get the PlayStation 5 version, they have an Ultimate Edition of it, which comes with a remastered original Spider-Man for PS5 with all the DLC. So if you get the Ultimate Edition for your PlayStation 5, you'll have both games to play on that new one.
Do yourself a favor, if you've never played this Spider-Man game before, don't go online and watch videos of people playing it, because there's some like really high level players that can just string together the coolest things that you'll never hope to do in your entire life, and you'll feel like you're not playing the game right. Because that's what happened to me after I beat the game. I was like, oh, I'm gonna watch this person beat this mission. I was like, holy crap, I didn't know you could do half of this stuff. It'll make you feel inferior.
But it's fun. The game's so fun. It's a real. I mean, since Spider-Man 2, there's not been one that I feel that nailed. Spider-Man.
Yeah, and I love that it's just giving the one thing that we really wanted out of the Spider-Man game, which was just kind of more weather environments, and they're giving us snow, and it's going to be coming out during the end of the year when it's at least snowing in our part of the world. Yeah. So this is going to be really fun.
Yeah, it's going to be great. So that gameplay is in our show notes. You can check that out. And then the other game that kind of blew me away, Mike, was this Hogwarts Legacy game. Kind of came out of there. It looks like Elder Scrolls and Harry Potter world at the end of the day. Like you've got a wizard. It's in you're at Hogwarts in the 1800s. So you are literally getting skills and abilities going through Hogwarts, and you've got the whole world. None of the stuff we've learned about in the Harry Potter movies or the Fantastic Beasts movies to worry about. You've got your own thing you can sit here and learn and play with.
Yeah. Narratively speaking, they did a really smart idea of putting this so far back in time, because you don't have to be bogged down with all of the characters that you've learned from the books and the movies. They can really kind of just carve out their own story, but aesthetically wise, they get to keep everything, because Hogwarts has always kind of been like this timeless location.
And there's no cars, there's no technology, right? It's all 1800 stuff. So the stuff you're going to get is going to look like it's set in medieval times at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, right now, the Harry Potter franchise has kind of been tarnished by its creator out there in the world. So a lot of people do not want to give J.K. Rowling any more money. They don't want to encourage her to push her kind of ideas out there in the world. So at least in our household, we might have to wait maybe until there's a used copy of this game to pick it up. So technically she's not getting any more money out of it, which might mean I'll have to end up getting the PlayStation 5 that has the disc drive, because if I get it without the disc, I'm not going to be able to play this game used. Yeah. So either way, just speaking on the pure merits of the game and the developers that made it, it looks really fun.
It looks awesome. I mean, I checked out, you get some creatures. You get it, out in the woods. It looks like you're going to learn a bunch of spells and get to use magic. I mean, if you were like, to me, this looks like a next generation Fable game, if you will, at the end of it.
Yeah, I don't know if this came officially from the video game creators itself or the studio, but people have been describing it as an open world game. I don't know if that they're just extrapolating on that from the trailer, but it would be cool if you kind of just get to walk the grounds whenever you want. Because one of the coolest thing about the Spider-Man game that we just talked about is, if you beat the game months or even years ago and you just kind of want to revisit New York and swing around in a little bit, you can just pop the game open and just swing around and just kind of chill. It'd be kind of cool if you could kind of do that in Hogwarts Castle,
Yeah, exactly. And I think I think the developers, I'm just kind of looking up through here, it's an open world single player action role playing game set in the world.
Cool.
So there's no multiplayer. You can get it actually on your PlayStation 4 mic. You do not have to upgrade to play this game if you don't want to.
Oh, hey, the news just gets better and better, man.
So, and then literally on their page, on WB Games, and it says, what is J.K. Rowling's involvement with this game? They say she is not directly involved in the creation of the game. However, her body of writing is the foundation for all the projects. So,
but she's going to get a little kickback. Nothing gets officially licensed without her getting a little bit of money.
Right. Well, I mean, I think that'll always be the case no matter what they do. But at the same time, they really, that's like the 5th question down. Like there's 30 questions.
Yeah. What a very awkward time to announce this game.
Yeah. So it's definitely weird. But I know they've been working on this a long time, and it definitely does not look like a current gen game that you play.
That's what's really unfortunate. You feel bad for all the really creative video game developers that have been working on it for years, and then they just like go to Twitter and they just see, no, stop tarnishing this game that we're making, lady.
Yeah. Well, and at the same time, like a lot of those people are, obviously Harry Potter fans. Like they're making this game because they love the world, and they don't have to agree with her and her Twitter tirades, if you will. So. Yeah, I think those games. I mean, there's some other games. God of War 2 was teased. It's called Ragnarok. Of course, everything's called Ragnarok these days. I think even the upcoming Assassin's Creed is Valhalla. So that looks cool. I think PlayStation 5's got some stuff in the notes, but I think it's cool that a lot of these games are coming to both systems, so you do not have to upgrade the first year if you don't want to. So cool deal. Mike, I'm going to call this a big win in my book here. I called this, how long ago? DC Universe is ending and becoming DC Universe Infinite. And do you know what's going to be on DC Universe Infinite?
Comic books. Because that's what you told me last week.
Exactly, comic books. I've said this for a while now. All the video stuff is going to HBO Max. And we'll talk about one of those shows here in a minute. But like the videos and stuff going over there, but DC Universe Infinite will become the home for digital comic books with some first look on digital books and more on January 21st, 2021. So
I tell you what, I have personally have found it very confusing. Like if you are like a diehard comic book fan, that maybe does not want to visit their comic book shop anymore. Maybe they're like you and me that and sometimes prefer digital copies of stuff. I know you personally do like your physical copy of comic books, but sometimes people just want to go faux digital. Like, what is a person to do? Like, let's say you like to read indie comic books, you like to read Marvel and DC. Like, is there one app that you can just get to read all of this? If you want a subscription service, what's the best subscription to do? It seems very fractured right now.
The thing is, if you follow a publisher, you get more benefits, right? So if you go to DC's and buy through their digital, DC's never been a digital first company, so that's part of their problem to find some of their newer stuff. Marvel's been pushing digital since I've been buying comic books for about 10 years now. So you can go through their store, but Comixology is the best place to go, which is purchased or is owned by Amazon, I believe, at this point. And they have all sorts of stuff. They have sales all the time. You can buy full runs or collected trades. Comixology is the best place to go. But it all depends on how the publisher wants to handle their digital front. Some indie ones don't want to even.
But correct me if I'm wrong. Is Comixology? That's not a subscription service, right? There is no
Netflix of
gotcha.
that encompasses everybody.
Yeah, that's an a la carte. But I believe when we were talking about Black Panther the other week and the passing of Chadwick Boseman, they unlocked a bunch of older comic book stuff. So I'm guessing they just went in their database and just set the price to zero temporarily on some of those comic books.
Yeah, a lot of my stuff. So if I buy them from Marvel, they give me a code. I redeem it on Marvel. It unlocks on Comixology. Easy as that. Marvel Comics has Marvel Comics Unlimited, which is their online subscription service. You don't get anything new is the problem with this. You have to wait a month or 2 months before those new issues hit that service. It's not like a same day and date. DC Universe will have DC Universe Infinite come January for that solution. So I again, it comics media is not the same as video media. Like, it does not same day and date for quote unquote streaming, but I could see this within the next 5 years coming out with that now, with everything literally the way it is now. So yeah, I still like to buy my books occasionally, but it's hard to go to a comic book store and get those right now. But a lot of older ones are on there. Mm-hmm. So yeah, and then I'm just gonna swap gears. DC Universe being gone, HBO Max existing. Harley Quinn was renewed for season 3 at HBO Max. So it'll be out in 2021.
Hey, there you go. I love adult animation.
Have you watched?
Even though I haven't caught back up on it yet, it's nice to know that it's over there on HBO Max. Yeah. Whenever it makes it over to Roku, come on, man.
Yeah, they'll get there. They'll get there for you. I found out my sister-in-law and brother-in-law have started watching this about a week ago, and they are just obsessed with the Harley Quinn show. They were like, we didn't think it would be that funny. I'm like, yeah, it actually is pretty entertaining all around. So you can check that out on HBO. Seasons 1 and 2 are on HBO Max right now, but not if you have a Roku. Rumor for Superman. Chalk this up as a big rumor, Mike. Grain of salt. Do you have your salt ready? Salt shaker?
Oh, it's ready. I got a nice little salt. So I got the big kosher grains of salt. I'm ready.
Is
to
it
go.
Pink? Is it the pink Himalayan salt?
No, it's white.
Okay, perfect. That's fine. Rumor has it Henry Cavill has signed up for 3 more Superman movies and some cameos in other movies.
Well, okay. I mean, that's a rumor for sure. I mean, I have to eat crow, eat dirt, eat mud, whatever it is. I feel like weeks ago on the show I said all of these Zack Snyder characters were pretty much dead, and I was dead wrong myself. It seems like they're all coming back, but in what capacity, I don't know. We'll have to figure it out, because it seems like it would be kind of weird if eventually all of these characters meet back up again and they just kind of pretend that the Justice League movie never happened, but they just kind of act like they've known each other for a while, and then they can just kind of write off those movies,
Yeah, it's I mean, I think again we talked about Wonder Woman and Aquaman always had a future. Flash was a little uncertain. Again, I don't think to joke about it, I don't think him choking his fan out has had any effect on his movie. We'll talk about it next, but yeah, Henry Cavill I kind of just written off. I'm like, nope, he's done. They're jerking him along. They're never going to give him the Superman movie. They'll just recast him like they did with Batman, call it a different universe, right? So if they get him for 3 more Superman movies, they need to make this announcement and get moving, man. We haven't had a solo Superman movie since 2013. It's time to get going with this guy.
Yeah, I mean, goddamn. I mean, visually speaking, Henry Cavill is just like the picture perfect Superman. Mm-hmm. I mean, when he puts that suit on, he slicks the hair back. I mean, like you've never seen a better incarnation of Superman on screen before. So I'm looking forward to him. I would just love to see somebody else take the reins, put somebody else in charge of writing him, put somebody else in charge of directing him.
Do you want J.J. Abrams too, since he's got that look, that first look deal?
No, I'm not. J.J. Abrams is kind of on my shit list after Star Wars. Maybe he can redeem himself in the future with a property that I don't care much about. Let's have him do that.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what he does. So yeah, we'll keep you posted if this comes out to be true. So we'll knock on wood, let people know. Continuing with our rumor segment of the show, The Flash. I've got some rumored cameos that they want for this film.
Bring it on.
Okay, first and foremost, they want Christian Bale's The Dark Knight version of Gotham and his Batman, if he'll come back. I know he's working on Thor: Love and Thunder currently. The biggest news is they want to bring back Val Kilmer, George Clooney, and Chris O'Donnell from the second era of the Batman films.
Yes, get them all, man.
Yep, so they could do that. Kind of a no-brainer here is bringing in Grant Gustin as the Flash from the TV show.
Oh man, I'm sure he would love it. Are you kidding me? Yeah. I mean, we always talked about they would interview actors on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and they're like, "Oh, would you like to be in the MCU?" And they basically would just want to tell the reporter, "Yeah, duh, I want to be in a movie. Are you kidding me?" So I hope Grant Gustin gets the come up here.
And there's precedent with him crossing over on the TV show, the actor. So there's that. And lastly, what I called again last week, using Nicolas Cage as Superman from the Tim Burton movie that never got made.
Oh my gosh, this is great. I talk about this all the time. This is the leverage DC has that Marvel will just never have. They have this history and legacy of these characters. You know, they're lucky that it's all underneath the ownership of Warner Brothers. They don't have to worry about rights and contracts and all of this nonsense, but they just really just have to worry about the availability of the actors. So yes, bring them all back, do all of this stuff. I want to see it all. I want to go to this movie like so bad. I never thought I would come back around to these DC movies this hard. Like all of these rumors circling around this Flash movie is just making me like geek out like so hard. I like all of these bullet points in the notes right now for this is just yes, more.
Yeah, and I'm going to dub this movie Into the Batverse because it's like this is Into the Spider-Verse, but the Flash is using it to dive into all these Batman things that never really got to happen. So I think this is really cool that they can do this, and they want to do this, and, you know, knock on wood, they can get them. Hopefully some of these actors are keen to come back and redeem themselves from the parodies.
The only, like, narrative speed bump that I could see moving forward is all of these Batmans, except for maybe Christian Bale, are much older now. So you're talking about, like, are you going to give me cameos from all of these Batman as older people? Because I feel like you're kind of already getting that with the Tim Burton Batman.
Right.
So, you know, that's going to be the older, possibly Batman Beyond Bruce Wayne, if you will. So I would like to see Warner Brothers tap into some of that de-aging technology. I mean, they used it a little bit with Aquaman with... what's that actor's name? He played like the
William Dafoe.
William Dafoe. Yeah, the mentor of Aquaman when he was younger.
Green Goblin.
So, yeah. So yeah, I mean, I know all of these actors have probably aged well because they're famous and they're celebrities, and, you know, they have access to skincare that we all just don't have. But yeah, maybe de-age George Clooney a little bit, Chris O'Donnell. You know, at least give me one of these Batmans maybe in their prime. Wouldn't it be so cool to see George Clooney's Batman like just right after he beat Mr. Freeze? You know, still like, what if we got another one of those movies? Like that would be cool. I would be okay with that.
And then I believe there's a Batwoman. I think it's Batgirl in
Alicia Silverstone.
I mean, they didn't mention her specifically, but there's an opportunity if they wanted to. I think here's the thing. I think Ben Affleck's going to have a large role, at least 5 or 10 minutes. I think Michael Keaton's going to have a very primary role in this film, but these other ones are going to be like, oh, hey, there's that guy for like 30 seconds.
Like montage.
Like, hey, here's all the other universes that could have been, or this is what happened based on this X moment in your life. You know, there's opportunities here for them to do that, but I don't think we're going to be like, hey, you're going to be primary in this movie for a while.
I would love to see like who is the guy that was like always, I can't remember the actor's name. He was always hosting the Oscars. And at the very, very beginning of the show, they would always like put him special effects into movies. Who's
was
that?
It Billy
can't
Crystal?
think of his Billy Crystal, that's right.
Yeah.
I would love to see them Billy Crystal one of these Batman movies where the Flash literally runs into a movie we've already seen before. I'll just use the reference of George Clooney and Mr. Freeze again. Like maybe there's like a shot where like you see him like behind. It's like, oh, I've watched this movie before. I've seen this scene before. And oh, they put him in the background. That would be fun too. Or maybe add a scene to it. You know, maybe just before George Clooney's Batman gets into the Batmobile and drives off. You know, that's the scene we see in the movie when he's driving the Batmobile.
I think
maybe just before he gets into it, he shows up.
The Flash steals the Bat credit card and takes it to a different universe with him.
Oh, that would be great. He's like, oh, I can pay for this. I picked this up on my travels.
Yeah.
That would be so funny.
So yeah, they could make some references to those other ones that become kind of parodies, but at the same time still have some fun with them. So
and it works with the character. The Flash is a lighthearted, goofing around character. They've already established it with his character in the previous movies. So yeah, this all works. This is great. I want it in my veins.
Yeah. So yeah, long list of names. Knock on wood. We'll see how these rumors play out. Lastly, my last thing is also a big rumor, Mike. I wanted to share this with you, and I think this is a great bit of news here. James Bond, we are getting a new Bond after No Time to Die, if it ever comes out. And that rumored Bond is going to be Tom Hardy himself, our own Venom, taking over 007. Yes, he is British, for people who don't know. He's just had an American accent. But if you take Tom Hardy, pluck him right out of Inception, and put him in a James Bond movie, it's perfect. It's beautiful. So
yeah, Yeah, I suppose for me, myself, when it comes, I've never been like a huge James Bond person growing up. You know, every once in a while it's fun to watch them just because, you know, they're action movies and who doesn't like a good action movie every now and again. But I've never really connected to the world overall because they've never really established anything long term. They've kind of done that recently with some of the newer Bond movies. But, oh man, what was that one where the plot was about like saving the water or buying water in a desert?
That Quantum of Solace?
Yeah, that movie. I did not like that movie, so that kind of turned me off for a little bit there. But they need to do something fresh with this franchise. I don't know what it is. I'm not the person in charge. I'm not the one with the money, and I'm not pulling the strings with all of these people. But like, are they just going to keep repeating the formula? I mean, obviously they've done it in the past. They've been doing it for plenty of years with this character, but I feel like we're in these new times, and I just want something different. I don't have the answer, but just do something different. I don't know what it is. Like maybe make Bond old and he's got like an apprentice that he's training, or maybe an older dude is like training Bond. Like I don't know, just inject something fresh. Like I said, I don't know the answer, but like
but you're also like you also admitted you're not the audience. There is a James Bond audience out there, and they like what their James Bond's being what it is. So
yeah.
We'll have to see what that looks like, but I mean, Tom Hardy's a good draw for this if it is true. Like, I think he could pull off that suave, sophisticated, I guess, super spy, if you will. But at the same time, he's kind of rough and rugged. Like he's not what's his name, Pierce Brosnan in GoldenEye kind of thing either. You know, so.
It would be kind of cool. What if they made a Bond that was like unlikable? You know, he was just kind of like
isn't that
like,
Daniel Craig?
Well, I mean, but like character wise, like maybe he's a douche. Like nobody really likes him in the office. Like, you know, he's kind of historically a womanizer. The only reason we let him get away with it is because the women seem to also like him. So it eventually ends up being consensual. But what if he was just like this totally unlikable dude that they let him get by with it because he has the license to kill. So you don't really want to get on his bad side. So I don't know.
I also think that's Daniel Craig's Bond, but it's either there. But yeah, we get the last one, No Time to Die, this fall, so we'll see how this plays out too. Well, Mike, that's it. That's the show for this week. Gotta wrap it up here and get on our way. So if you tell people where they can find you at, where can they see it?
Well, they can find me at Mike Royer Design on Instagram and Twitter, and you can read my webcomics at pickledcomics.com. Chris, if people want to catch up with you, see what you're doing, watching, or your literal watch, Apple Watch, what's your air quality doing, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter, Valdan, Valdan, or Instagram, Valdan87. Also hit me up on those gaming consoles if you want to play something this week. People can also head over to Comic UI. Listeners want to know where they can find our show notes, our upcoming list of stuff that maybe will hit air before 2021. I don't know. Where can they find all our information at?
Well, as always, all you have to do is visit superheroslate.com. That is the best resource for this show that we make here. So if you want to get our awesome show notes and look into these links that we were talking about this week, the Mandalorian trailer, that show reel for Disney+, the Spider-Man PlayStation 5 stuff, you can find that all in our show notes. And you can find us on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and wherever else you love to listen to find podcasts like our own. And we love it when you guys reach out and connect to us. So you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And you can get merch at superheroslate.com/store. We love hearing from you. If you're a big Kang fanboy and you know a lot more than I do and you want to reach out and really just tell me off and or maybe even just be nice and inform me.
I don't know. I like that first option better.
Yeah, reach out and tell us a little bit about that Kang lore, what you're looking forward to, what you think of this casting news. Are you an Orphan Black fan? Are you really excited about She-Hulk? I think this is going to get me to watch Orphan Black. We're kind of languishing in between shows of what the wife and I want to watch, so I think we might check out Orphan Black.
There you go. I mean, it's always a good week for news. So I guess we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, we love our super fans. Come on back next week, everybody. Bye.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe.
Your body is like a fucking sieve, man.
Yeah, it's a temple to Mountain Dew.